everything you do, I think, always leads to something else. And like, do I think I'm going to meet someone tonight? I don't know. I can't go in there with the thought process or the mindset of I'm not going to, so I'm not going to say I'm not going to. But there's a part of me thinking that if it doesn't work out, maybe it'll lead, or it will lead to the next thing.
You're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know.
Greetings, everyone. This is Mike, the dailyBred guy, and this is my podcast where I sit in my apartment by myself and talk to nobody about just whatever's on my mind. So enjoy this. Also, before I start, if you're into punk rock, I have another podcast where I interview people called This Was the Scene. It's about the late 90s, early 2000 punk scene, so you can go check that out if you'd like to. So it's been a while since I've recorded anything, and I decided that now I've just had a bunch of stuff happen where I could sit here for like 15 or 20 minutes and talk about just the present day and what's going on. I don't remember what I was talking about in the last episode, but this one I'm going to focus on the whole dating thing, the whole dating life that I've decided to throw myself into. And I think the reason why I've decided to do this is because I've been looking at just in general the things I'm doing between just the comic and my animation company, drive80.com, drive80.com, and my podcast, the This Was the Scene one. And then it's like I have these creative outlets that I'm doing, and I feel like I just kind of hit a wall where I'm not what's the word, excited? Like the animation company is working, so I just stopped really focusing on like money being an issue because not like I'm fucking rich or anything, but it just that the thing is just doing its thing, and I think I was putting too much pressure on it to be more than it was, and I was just like, let me just let it be. And so I'm not in this kind of like growth mode with it. I'm just kind of let this thing sustain as it is. And as far as the other two things, I feel like I can expand with the comic and then the podcast itself, and I just not really motivated, and I'm just like asking myself like why? Like why am I not driven to spend hours during the day growing these things? And it kind of dawned on me that I think like I don't know, like the next door to open is to like finding someone again to like have to be, let's like I don't say like you're my partner, but like my say like partner in crime. Like I really want to I like being with someone, and I like having a really good connection with somebody, and I think I really missed that for a long time. And then a couple years ago I let myself start to want that again, and now it's more of I think it's kind of a guess, but I think that would be something if I met the right person that would unlock this like motivation. And I don't want to meet someone to be motivated. I just want to meet someone to meet someone. Like there's a part of me that really likes having my person and having that connection with somebody. And I've missed that and I haven't had that for 8 years now. And July 30th will be 8 years since I've been divorced, like legally divorced. Be 8.5 years since I've been separated, or since I've been not with my ex. And I just kind of threw myself out there and started doing the whole dating thing. And I was just like, well, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this. So I would usually download dating apps and then delete them probably after a week or two because I would just get so annoyed. And then I started to think that that might be throwing off the algorithm for me potentially, because I like never connect with anybody on dating apps. It's so fucking rare. And I have friends who are single that use dating apps, and they're like, yeah, I've got like 10 conversations going on right now. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I have zero. Like right now I have one person in my inbox, and I think it's spam because it's like it's on Hinge, and it's this really, she's super hot girl, and the intro message was like was weird. So I think it's a bot, because these dating apps have bots now. But I committed to keeping the apps on my phone because I'm like, all right, if I'm really going to be in this, I need to have all these avenues happening to help me potentially meet, like, bump into the person that I hopefully connect with and she connects with me. So I'm like, all right, let me keep the dating apps on. And I've gone on a couple dates. I actually, I connected. It's rare, but I've connected, and went on a date with this one girl, and she was nice, but she kept like fucking up the schedule. Like we were supposed to meet one time, and it was like a Sunday, and then she had texted me at like midnight that she couldn't meet the next day because she had a flight, which I was kind of like, wouldn't you know you had a flight then on that day? Because no one just, I mean, no one that I know just books a flight a day in advance. It's usually like a couple weeks or months in advance. So we were scheduled and then went to and then we were scheduled for like a Saturday, and I showed up there, and I was about 2 minutes after we were supposed to meet, and I was like, hey, here's where I am in the building, because it was like a food hall in town. And she texts back like, oh, I didn't think we were meeting. And I was like, well, we fucking scheduled it. And when we first connected, she had told me about this guy who she had connected with, but they had set a date for like 5 days out from when they started talking, and he would message her every day like, good morning, how's your day, how's your day? And she goes, I just got really annoyed and just didn't show up. So I didn't message her leading up to the date because I didn't want to annoy her. And I said it to her, I was like, and also I didn't message you because this guy you ghosted because he annoyed me you. And then she showed up, and we just didn't click. And I text afterwards, and she's like, yeah, I didn't feel a connection. And I was like, that's great. That's fine. I'd rather have it had happen now. And I could point out the things that I didn't like, but it's like we didn't click. And that's the adult me now talking, where old school me would be like a little bit more salty about it, because you kind of think like, what's wrong with me? And then I went on another date with someone, and it was a really good date. And then we met up again like a couple days later, and I was like, "Ooh, I really like this girl. She was really fucking hot and really good personality, and we just like really were getting along." And then the next week, it seemed things kind of went off, and I took it as she was pulling back, but then she had said like she was really busy with work, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm just like, I'm gonna say why I'm feeling this way. So it's like I always hear that, guys don't show their feelings. Like, I'm very much into showing my feelings. And I was like, okay, here's where my head's at. And I was just kind of getting this resistance. So from my take on it, to only know someone for a week, it was just too early to have like that kind of a, I don't know, it was like an argument, because it's texting, so you don't really get a tone. But it just felt off, and it felt confrontational. And I thought, like, if I only known someone for a week and was already feeling confrontational, it's like that's too fast. And I'm not a confrontational dater. Like, if I'm with someone, I try to be. I mean, the last time I was in a long relationship was, 8 years ago was when it ended, and it was 6 years of being with that person. And what I brought to that relationship was like, I didn't like fighting. We got along really well. And then at the end, it just, we had like one thing, and it was over. And like I don't know, I don't like yelling matches with someone. I don't need that heated argument to feel passion. Like, that's just not my fucking jam. I had that with two relationships prior to the last one, and it's just not me. So if that was her gig with the girl I went on a date with, I was like, if this is what you're into, then I'm just out. So I just cut it off, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna back off. So it's like you put yourself out there, and when it starts to go right, you're like, oh my God, it's finally happening. Like, not like I'm gonna meet the person I'm gonna marry, but oh cool, I get to hang out with someone, and it's gonna be, I don't know, the day feels a lot brighter, I guess, and you feel a lot like brighter and lighter. You feel all those things, both those things, and it's exciting, and it makes the day just cool. And then it just doesn't go the way you want it, and then you're kind of like, man, I really am just putting myself out there. I'm trying to, and like, there's so many books and podcasts and whatever out there about people talking about the universe, and which I'm like a big fan of, and I like connecting, manifesting and having good energy to bring things your way, and stuff like that. But it's kind of like, they're like, you ask for things and they show up. It's like, well, if I say I like really want to meet someone, why does it take so long? And you ask yourself that. You're like, I feel like I'm really prepared to be in a relationship with someone, and like them and show up with the hopefully the good things that I have, and like and them show up with their good things, and just have this great thing happen. And then like dates don't work, or you get stood up, or you like someone and they just ghost you, and you're kind of like, fuck, man, what, like, what? I don't understand, like, why, like, what is the lesson being learned here? Like, do I have to keep going through this before I meet someone? And the funny thing is, I know that by doing this podcast, I really throw it out there. So if I do connect with someone, they could easily listen to this episode, and they could either be, oh, this sounds like a guy I'd want to date with, or it could be like, oh, this is crazy that this guy is sitting here and talking about this shit. He seems like a loose cannon. So it's like I have an understanding that this is the way this stuff could seem, but it's coming from a genuine place that's not um, like, what's the word? I don't know. It's like I'm not trying to be like, I don't want to be mean about someone. Like, I'm trying to talk through, like, yeah, I had a shitty date, but I can see why it didn't work out, and I don't think they're the enemy, you know. But and then if someone, and the funny thing too is, like, when I connect with people, they always tell me that they're like, yeah, you have your last name in your profile, because the last name doesn't show until you match, and then it shows that. So then people are like, oh, I Google you, which I understand. Like, nowadays you can Google people, and when I connect with someone, I'll like look on Instagram, like, oh, I wonder if I can find them, or I can find them on Facebook and see if I can learn a little bit more about them and their personality, and find more photos to like kind of validate that I thought they were hot, and see if they're like catfishing me or anything like that. So with the stuff that when someone Googles me, like, I have so much shit out there. I mean, I've got this podcast, which is like, I don't even know, 70 something episodes. I have to go on my website to see this. yourdailybread.com, blah, 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 podcast. I don't even know how many fucking episodes this thing has. Uh, yeah, I still don't really know. So it's like I think it's like 70 episodes. Yeah, this will be 71. All right, there we go. So 71 episodes. Oh, wow, and the last one I put out in December. Holy shit, it's been a while. Okay. And sorry about that. But they can go and listen to 70 fucking episodes that are 15, 20 minutes a piece, and talk about, and hear about me talk about when I was like super broke, or when I was really depressed, or like bummed out, or when I was like somebody and she totally blocked me all over all over like all of her social media accounts. And it's like, it's out there. So I might be fucking myself right now by having this happen, but I think the right person would see through all that, or see exactly what I'm doing and understand it, and not be like weirded out, which I'm hoping happens. But I just can't stop being myself, and this is the stuff that seems natural to me. So it's like I put on a mic, I sit in front of a microphone and I talk about my life. It just, that to me is easy, and for other people it's really hard. So I feel like I've just got to keep doing what I'm doing, got to stay the course, you know. But yeah, I mean, and then so back to the whole staying in it. So it's like I won't delete the app. So it's like I've got that going on. So let's see what happens with that shit. And I got this book called The Obstacle is the Way. I think it's called that. It's about like stoicism, and Ryan Holiday is reading it. I think like Tim Ferriss funded it or something. And it's about where you feel resistance, that's the direction you need to go in. And one part it said like, where are you feeling resistant now? And I'll actually pull up my list. And so I was like, okay, well, this is, what can I do now to see what my obstacles are? And it was like, finding the love of my life, loving animation again, feeling creative, drinking a bit too much, that's one, and fear of flying. And then I did little bullet points underneath. So with the dating one, I put like, what are the things I can do to help solve this issue? It's like meaning the love of my life. Like that's also a lot of pressure on someone. And I just like, when I meet someone, I'm not like, okay, cool, are you going to be the one? I'm going off my feeling of, I like this. I want to keep hanging out with them, and like go off of that feeling and say like, let's see where this goes. And it's not like, okay, cool, now we have to plan when we're going to move in together and all that stuff. But the funny thing is that I think wherever you leave off in the last relationship, you almost have this, you know what it feels like to be at that point where you left off at. And maybe there's this, not internal pressure, but kind of like, I don't know what the feeling is. It's almost like you kind of want to get back there, but you realize that it takes time to get there. So being married, I mean, that's like the main thing, I think, for a decent amount of people. So I was there. So when I meet someone, I don't have this rush to get back to that. I mean, I would like to see meet someone where let's, hopefully if you have that feeling of, okay, I'd like to have this go really well where we figure out if we want to do this. But, it's kind of like I think for some people it might be I need to get back there faster, so I need to meet someone really quick so I can get back to that marriage thing. But this time it's going to work out, and I think that's just a giant fucking disaster when that happens. But so with the bullet points, I was like, dating apps, asking friends about single friends, so getting referrals. This is all like sales. This is like all the sales training I used to do. It's kind of like what's in your cookbook, as my old sales coach called it. It's like what are the things you need to be doing on a daily basis to close a sale, basically, which is like get a date or find a girlfriend. One was like hire a dating coach. And these are just ideas. I don't know, I'm 100% dive into them, but it's like message people on Facebook, cold message someone like, hi, you're hot. We should go out. I mean, I'd probably be a little bit more smooth, but go to dating events, hang out at certain area like bars and things where there's more females. Go to Glenwood South a lot, which is this street down here in Raleigh that's like kind of the party street. And I think the math would work in anyone's favor if they went there and hung out through, that many people into like late of the night, where later into the night. But I can't start my night at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night and go to like 2 in the morning. I just don't have that. That's just not my energy anymore, being 43. But the dating events thing was funny because I'm actually going to go to a singles or a speed dating thing tonight, which in general, I think these things are fucking lame. But, and I feel like the people that show up, and I am going to be one of those people showing up, there's kind of this part of you that feel like you could show up with it thinking like, this looks so sad that I'm here. But I'm going to show up to it with like, this is just creating an opportunity for the next step to go in that direction. And I'm not standing still. Like I'm putting in the effort and trying something that everything you do, I think, always leads to something else. And like, do I think I'm going to meet someone tonight? I don't know. I can't go in there with the thought process or the mindset of I'm not going to, so I'm not going to say I'm not going to. But there's a part of me thinking that if it doesn't work out, maybe it will lead to the next thing. So who knows what that is? But I'm just gonna have fun with it. And I think you talk to someone for 6 minutes, and I think the women stay stationary and the guys move around. So it's just like it's gonna be fun, but it can just look so desperate, and I'm just not gonna bring that energy to this thing. And years ago when I got divorced, I did hire a dating coach at one point, and she sucked. She wasn't the right fit for me. She wanted to like have me do this photo shoot where she's like, you need like edgy photos because you're edgy. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm not gonna wear edgy clothes and do a fucking photo shoot looking like an asshole. And then she set me up in this one date, and this girl was just a fucking bitch. And she just was just so salty, and I was like, okay, this sucks. So that didn't work. And I did do a weekend with these guys who are doing like pickup artist things. I don't know if I talked about this before in other episodes, but it wasn't like sketchy stuff. It was just how to get you to feel more confident to walk up to someone. Because I'm deathly afraid of talking to girls that I don't know, like just cold approaches. Because I just find it to be very just, I don't know, intrusive or just scary. Like I think the rejection thing really freaks me out. But if there's an open door of conversation, then I'm good to just kind of go with it. So when I hired these guys, it was like $500 I think I spent for 3 days. Not 3 days total, but we went out on a Friday night, and they're like, here's how here's how you present yourself in a bar situation, or here's how you can walk up to someone. And then the next day we did day game where we went to a shop or a grocery store, and they're like, here's how you walk up to someone in the grocery store. And then the second day we did like day game again. We're just walking around bars, and then it was over. And then like Saturday night we went out again, and it was cool. It just made you feel more comfortable. And the grocery store thing was funny because they said, when you go in, start talking to someone that you're not interested to because that's easy. And it starts getting the wheels turning and the energy going. So by the time you talk to the person you do like, that should be like four or five people out from conversations. So then you're already just in flow and they're going to pick up on that energy and it's not going to seem, you're not going to walk up and just feel like afraid. You're going to be just kind of like, hey, what's going on? Or like, oh, that Salem chicken looks pretty good or whatever the fuck you'd say. So that was pretty cool. So it's like, so yeah, I'm just gonna do the things to put myself out there. And like the one thing I wanted to do before I wrap this up, and actually take a sip of coffee here, hold on. The one thing that I did want to do was put on like Facebook or Instagram kind of a, you know, like if you're single and hot, like hit me up. But I feel like that would open the door to someone reaching out potentially that I'm just not attracted to, and I don't know how to say that to somebody. Like, oh yeah, I'm just not feeling it, and I feel like that. So I was like, let me just not do that. Um, but yeah, but I mean, I don't know if like if anyone out there listening is in the Raleigh area and they have a hot friend who is really cool and just good personality and super cute or hot or I know obviously that's relative, but I think I'm very picky in general. Um, but if you do, you hit me up on Instagram, be like, hey, you should check out this friend or check out this friend of mine. Um, and who knows, like maybe someone listening be like, I would not let anyone date this guy, or maybe like, oh, this guy is pretty open about shit. Maybe he sounds like a good fit for somebody that I know. But yeah, so that's it, and hopefully I just if I don't meet someone, hopefully I find that motivation to just kind of keep building on the things that I have and not feel so stagnant these days. But cool. So if you're listening and you are in a relationship, then just remember how shitty the dating world is. It's pretty brutal. And if you're single, and I feel for you because it's pretty awful out there. So, all right, that's all I got to say. Goodbye.